Hello students, in today's lecture we are going to continue with the meaning. In last lecture we saw the meaning, and in today's lecture we'll be looking after the background of personnel management. So until 1900 in developed countries and until 1926 in India, the personnel management or human resource management was not having any separate identity. Till that much period of time, that is till 1926 in India, the head of production department, or generally a production manager or officer, who used to take care of staffing and placement. Right. So during 1926 or before that, not in developed countries, other developed countries, and not also in India, personnel management had not emerged as a separate discipline. It was not considered as an important function, rather, and a production was given much more importance, and therefore production officer or production manager used to look after the process of recruitment, and the role which personnel manager or human resource manager which plays it now was earlier played by production manager. So he used to take care of staffing and placement. Then during those days, employees in olden days were men, and hence the wordings which we come across is men, machines, materials, and money. These are the four M's we call, right? So main, so gender specific, women were not working during that time, and it was since World War First that women started entering the workforce in more numbers, and the reason was large number of deaths of young men in War II of the World War made it necessary to recruit more women in industries in developed countries, because these were the countries who were ahead in the two world wars. Okay, so the word personnel consists of both men and women employees at all the levels. Students, we are learning here what is the background of personnel management, or how HRM as a separate discipline and how it got importance in the organizations that we are looking after. So coming back towards our point, we were talking that word personnel, which is uh, uh, which is a word which is being term used to address the workforce, both men and women. So initially there were only two categories, officers and workers. Later on, they were divided into executives, officers, supervisors, and workers. And as far as workers are concerned, there are three main categories in workers, that is skilled, semi skilled, and unskilled workers. Okay, so the function of personnel manager from 1900 to 1950 was to take up the requirements or look after the salary administration, employee records, provident fund, gratuity, leave records, transfers, increments, etc. And they had a very little role in recruitment and selection process. Okay, so the production, as I said earlier, the production manager used to look after the recruitment and selection process. Then because of various private and public sector companies when started their business in India, and when there was a severe competition between public and private sector, that made it necessary to mobilize the human resource of higher talent. That means this competition made it necessary to recruit such people who are very intelligent, who will be come up with innovative ideas, creative thinking, and who will help the organization to beat its competitors. Okay, so the search of talent and the need to get such talent from the society enhance the role of personnel manager. Okay, so the department role, that is the personnel management or the personnel department, got more importance due to training, retraining of workforce, and development programs for executives. Hence, there was more active involvement of personnel department in development activities. And gradually, what happened? These corporates renamed personnel department as human resource management, and it started or it renamed its development activities as HRD, that is Human Resource Development. Okay, so students, so you might have got it. I'll just briefly give the explanation. That the role of personal manager was very limited in 1900 or before 1926 or till 1950 we can call. And his major job was to look after the salary of employees, their go through their leave records, their absenteeism, their transfers, increment, all this related to. But he had no role in selection and recruitment process. And now if you look at today's HR, role of HR manager, his main role is to get good his main role is to go into recruitment process so actively to find out what kind of human resources required for the organization, and accordingly carry out the selection process and the recruitment process. This is the main role. So you can call it as there has been a shifting from a role, shifting, instead of saying shifting, we would say that the role of scope of HR manager has been widened since 1950 we can call it as. Okay, then what happened during those that time, that during the era of personnel management, the officers of personnel department were ignorant or were unconcerned about the technology, process, production problems, raw materials, customers, dealers, etc. And gradually the business environment forced them to acquire certain basic knowledge so that their role is more efficient in selection and placement. And it's the truth. If you want to grab the cream from the society, you must first know that what is going on in our production department, what are our problems, what kind of talent is required by our organization, and accordingly you are going to carry out the recruitment process, right? So the role has been widened, as I said, that now the personnel manager or HR manager knows everything about which technology is used in organization, what is the process of production, what are the problems of production, what are the problems of customers, how are the customers to be satisfied, how to deal with the dealers, everything. He knows everything about the business. That means, in short, he knows what is the need of my organization, and this is what is required because he has to be actively involved in the recruitment and selection process. So he must have that knowledge about what is the requirement of the organization, and then only accordingly he can get the talent, or he can search for that talent from the society. Okay, so uh, since liberalization, that is from 1991, the role of HR manager has become more wider, and his dependency on production manager for selection, placement, and training needs has been reduced. Okay, so these were the points which we explained, that no separate identity was there in India till 1926 for a personnel manager. Then we saw that employees were only men. After both the world wars, women entered the workforce. Then till 1950, the personnel manager was not supposed to have any important role in recruitment and selection. And last, because of more private and public sector companies, or more tough competition among these private and public sector in India, made it necessary for a personnel manager to enter into or play a significant role in recruitment and selection. Okay, so this is all about the background, how personnel management got converted into human resource management, and how HRM and HRD plays important role in any of the organization. Okay, so I think I have made it very clear. Then moving towards the objectives of HRM, why HRM is necessary for an organization, and what is its objective. So the first one is to create and utilize an able and motivated workforce to accomplish the basic organizational goals. Okay, so the main role which HRM plays is to create and utilize a able and motivated workforce. Your workforce have to be motivated one. It should be quite able, and able means a very intelligent workforce, which your workforce should be able to grab the opportunity, face the threats, must be innovative, creative, everything. So that ability has to be developed among your workforce. Okay, so that is the first objective. And why you want to motivate your workforce? Of course, to accomplish your organizational goals, to achieve your objectives of your organization. That is the first point. Then the second one is to establish and maintain desirable working relationship among all the members of organization. It's again the duty of HR to create a good work culture, work environment in the organization, where they have to see that everybody, all the employees are having good relations with each other, working relations with each other, and they are working with full cooperation, and they are trying to achieve the organizational goals, right? So you have to maintain that work relationship and work culture in the organization. That is the second objective. Then moving towards the third is to secure the integration of individual and groups within the organization by coordination of individual and group goals with those of the organization. What you have to do is that every organization is having its goals, right? For an organization as a whole, you are having a goal. Then for every team in the organization, you are having certain objectives, and again you set objectives at individual level. So what you have to do is that you have to integrate all these individual, group objectives and goals within the organization in such a way that you can coordinate the efforts and goals of individuals and groups with that of the organizational goal. That means when an individual achieves his own objective or goal, automatically the group goal is being achieved, right? When group goal is achieved, your organizational goal is achieved. So this integration is to be undertaken. So that integration has to be done by the HRM, right? The next one is to create facilities and opportunities for individual development so as to match it with the growth of organization. This is very important. That means you have to see to it that you have to create such opportunities and facilities have to be given for an individual so that his personality gets developed. He gets every individual or every employee must get that feeling that while working in this organization, my personality has been developed. I'm getting different shades in my personality, and various growth opportunities are there in this organization. This feeling has to be developed. Not only feeling, I mean, you have to actually create those facilities, or you have to create those opportunities for the individuals, so that what will happen, it will match it with the growth of the organization. Once your individual is happy with his personal growth and development, naturally when an individual grows, automatically the organization succeeds, right? So you have to integrate both the things. The next one is to attain an effective utilization of HR in achievement of organizational goals, right? So you have to see that your human resources, or whatever people you have employed in your organization, you have to see to it that their potential is fully utilized. Okay, it should not be wasted. Very effectively, optimum utilization of human resource has to be undertaken. Whatever potential your people are having, you have to see to it that you use that potential at its fullest. Okay, then moving towards next is to identify and satisfy individual and group needs by providing adequate and equitable wages, incentives, employee benefits, and measures for challenging work, prestige, recognition, security, status, etc. Okay, so you have to, it's duty of HR to satisfy the individual and group needs by providing equitable wages. Adequate and equitable, these two words are very important. Adequate means sufficient, right? Whenever a person is doing a job, when he's being paid the salary, that salary or wages, whatever is being paid, it should be adequate, right? Adequate means it should be his an individual's cost of living, his family's, he should be able to live his life with that amount of wage or salary which is earning. It should be adequate. That employee should feel that I am getting adequate salary which is sufficient for me and which is according to my knowledge, skill, my academic qualification. It should be equally given, equitable wages, right? Equally given to all those people who are at the same designation, at the same level. So equally it should be given. There should not be any injustice whenever you are giving your wages or salary, other employee benefits. Then you should motivate your individuals by giving them challenging work, right? Good recognition. You should appreciate the work of your employees so that they get satisfied. You should motivate them, you should appreciate their good work. So these are the things you have to do in HR. Next is to maintain high employee morale and sound human relations by sustaining and improving various conditions and facilities. Now, morale means what? Morale means your attitude towards organization, right? That means whether you are having a positive attitude or a negative one. So it's a duty of HR to see to it that your employees are having a high morale, and they always think about the good of the organization. Whenever whatever act they are doing, whatever things they are doing in the organization, they always have to think that this is for the betterment of my organization. I have to contribute for the development of my organization, right? So that way their morale has to increase. They should have a feeling that we are living in a family. These colleagues, these employees, this organization is just like my family, and I should do something good for my organization. This kind of attitude has to be developed. Then sound human relations, right, by sustaining and improving various conditions and facilities, right? So whatever facilities are being provided to your employees, they should be given continuously, and there has to be improvement in those facilities day by day. Your employees should get that feeling that our facilities are increasing day by day, and we are giving our organization is making our life more and more comfortable, and it is thinking about our welfare, and our work culture, our working conditions are becoming better day by day. Okay, so that kind of, and when these things happen, these things means what? When you are giving them various facilities, when organization, where the management is providing you with good better facilities, automatically a feeling gets developed among your employees that how much this organization is doing for me. It is trying to give me all sorts of comfort, isn't it? And even HR has to see that these people are having good relations among each other, because your relations with each other at workplace definitely reflect in your work, right? If you're having good bonding with your colleagues, with your seniors, juniors, everybody, all the people with along with whom you work, your team, then your work becomes, you can carry out your work in the best manner, right? So your relations should be sound. That is important. Okay, then next is to strengthen and appreciate human assets continuously by providing training and development programs, right? So you have to enhance the quality of your human resource, and to enhance the quality means what? You have to impart them training. Training means what? Imparting new skills among your employees, right? So if you depute your employees for training purpose, automatically it increases their confidence level, because whenever you become a part of a training, you learn some new things which increases, builds up your confidence, right? And this is what is required. When you keep on learning new things, when your training is undertaken continuously, your confidence level increases, and you get a good feeling that being a part of this organization, I got an opportunity to learn some new things in my life, right? Which have strengthened my confidence. So this is the one thing. And the second thing is that you have to appreciate your human assets continuously. Continuously is the word, very important. So if very small things, if your employee does something very good for the organization, you have to appreciate him in front of others. In the whole meeting, you should felicitate him, say a few good words about your employees. Because of this, what happened, other people also get motivated. Because of things, they also start thinking that, see how a person is being appreciated for his good work, we should also do something, isn't it? So that way the message gets spread up in the among your employees. Okay, so you have to see to it that you appreciate your human assets continuously. Second is, and last one is, to consider and contribute to minimization of socio-economic evils. Okay, you have to consider these consider and minimize socio-economic evils. Which are those socio-economic evils? Unemployment, underemployment, inequalities in distribution of income and wealth. Improve the welfare of society by providing employment opportunities to women and disadvantaged section of the society, isn't it? Being a part of society, an organization is a part of society, you have to see to it that these socio-economic evils gets reduced from the society, and you have to create opportunities for women and disadvantaged section in the society, be as a part of your social responsibility towards organization. This big role, or the significant role, also HR has to play. Okay, then next is to provide an opportunity for expression and voice in management. It means that you should give a chance to your employees to express themselves in front of the management. That means you have to create such an open environment in organization where your employees should not hesitate to express themselves, their views openly. That environment has to be created, voice in management. Next is to provide fair, acceptable, and efficient leadership. It is again the objective of HR to provide a good leader, acceptable. Acceptable is very important. A leader himself, if he starts saying, I'm a leader, it's of no use. A leader should be accepted by his subordinates. The subordinate should feel that he is our leader or she is our leader, right? So it's again the objective of HR to provide fair, acceptable, and efficient leadership, because the success of any organization depends upon your who your leader is, and therefore it is your duty to see to it that a good leader is to be provided, so that your organization would be on the path of development. And next, last one is to provide facilities and conditions of work and creation of favorable atmosphere for maintaining the stability of employment. Okay, that means you have to create a favorable environment in such a way, whatever facilities, conditions you're providing to your employees, they should maintain the stability of employment. That means your employees should not feel that they should feel very comfortable whenever working in the organization, and they should never think about leaving the job of that organization. In such a way, you have to create that much comfort, you have to give that much value to their good work, you have to value the human assets, you have to appreciate them, you have to create a favorable environment where your workers, your employees are working very hard with full devotion, and they are motivated, having a positive attitude towards organization. I'm just concluding and giving a gist of all the objectives. So all these things definitely is the objective of HR, and HR is trying to every in every organization, every HR department tries to achieve these objectives. Okay, so here I conclude with the objectives of HRM. Thank you.